representing and interacting with doctors all over the world. I remember Aaron and I were in the Philippines, and we had a special dinner for 46 doctors. And man, they got all excited as we showed them all this, and we just showed them this stuff that the only way it could be accomplished is if we're getting in the cell. And don't you know it, in every audience, there's one guy that'll always come up. Do you have scientific proof you're in the cell? Well, let's see. You see this? Was Dr. Nicolopoulos' report. And he shared it one time, but it shows what we do with genetic expressions. That's nothing short of miraculous. And according to Dr. Nicolopoulos, one of the top genetic scientists in the world, cellular, the guy's the top of the heap. And he says, hey, the only way you could do that, nothing else does it. And man, he's tried so many things. This is his life. And nothing else does what we do. And the only way we can do it is if we are truly indeed. Nope, I want to see the science. Show me proof. And we've heard that every now and then. Well, today we have proof. It took a little investment on our part, but you know what? We finally decided we're done. We're done with all the naysayers. We're going to get our proof, and we're going to start letting the world know that we have proof. We contracted with a company called Eurofins. So EUROFINS.com. You can check them out, go to their website. Let me tell you about this company, because what happens if Ryan is the one that gave me the proof? Hey, Dad, I whipped this up in the kitchen and, I've got proof now. No, Ryan, that won't go over well. But Eurofins is the largest testing company of its kind in the world. It's in 63 countries, not the 75 we're in, but 63 is pretty good. They have 60,000 employees. They beat us there, but not if you count our distributors. And but they perform, are you ready for this? 450 million tests per year. And they test everything you can imagine about biology and the human being and animal testing, and they do all this kinds of testing. And so they were referred to us, and they are the best. They're number one. And the thought being, hey, if we get the very top testing firm and they give us results that we like, the whole world will end up hearing about it. They give us results we don't like. Where's the nearest trash can, right? Because we know we're in the cell, but they gave us results we like, and that's what we're here to report to you. But you'll want to write down their website, Eurofins.com, and you'll be able to check it out. That website you can ask 100 questions of. It's just amazing, all the subcategories. Okay. Today, remember the word efficacy and efficiency. Those are two good words to write down, because nobody else does what we do. Now let's talk about the test. What the challenge is, there's 4 phases we've got to look at. Number one, and this isn't covered in the test, this is just general biology, easy to check out. Number one, you've got to go from the mouth on an oral product, which is capsules, pills. If you've got a spray or drops, you can go from the nose. But you got to get from here down to the gut. But you're really going to try to get to the cell. Okay? So the first thing we have to look at is mouth to cell. How long is that? That's not in the report, but you can look this up. Just any biology book will tell you. To the cell, normal, conventional, is averages, even for the most expensive products that are wrapped in fats, average 2 hours. So from the time you intake it till the time it gets in contact with the cell, not in the cell, but in contact with the cell, 2 hours. Now, next problem is, how do we go from the outside of the cell to the inside of the cell? That's where the action is. That's where everybody wants to be. Okay. The cell is created to keep things out, and we're glad. It wants to keep all the bad things out. So the cellular membrane is real thick like this, Now, where's the weak spot? Well, the weak spot are the pores. And they're only about 10 nanometers in size. So they don't let a lot of stuff. 10 nanometers, for those of you that don't know, one strand of hair, just one strand of your hair, is 80,000 nanometers thick. And the pore in the cell is only 10 nanometers. The cell itself averages about 100 nanometers. And it's not like dropping it into an empty plate as far as your cells go. They're incredibly complex. They have trillions. Every single cell, and you got 37 trillion cells, has trillions of mechanisms working together that if one doesn't work, there's problems, right? That's how incredibly you've been designed. You are trillions and trillions and trillions of miracles right there. Just in your body, you have 37 trillion glutathione factories. Every cell has its own factory for making glutathione. So what's the problem? The problem is deficits. Glutathione levels decline as we age, average of 8 to 15% per decade. So I'm 77. That means I have less than 65% of my glutathione. I mean, 65%'s gone. I'm working on 45%. Injuries, disease states, they all create temporary or long-term or permanent deficits. If you're fighting cancer, you got so many deficits, I can't even tell you, of glutathione. It's the most abundantly molecule. It's the most abundant molecule in your body other than the water molecule. That's how critical it is to every aspect of your life. Now, glutathione goes down. If you have a lung disorder, the lining of your lungs, which are normally glutathione rich, they start to have deficits. They can't get enough. How about liver disease? How about kidney problems? How about diabetes? All those create tremendous deficits, okay? And so what the goal is of anybody trying to put glutathione in your body, whether it comes through a shot, an IV, a capsule that you put in your mouth, the goal is to get the deficits taken care of as best as possible. Get it into the cell. Now, if perchance we could, what would we want to do? We would want to target the ones where the greatest deficits are. I mean, the one, picture a swimming pool that's filled to the brim. Do you need more water? No. But how about the one that has a leak and it's going down, 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 down? Yeah, if you want to swim, you got to bring it back somehow, right? Okay, you're getting the picture of the problem. Now, once a product gets to the cell, the main problem is getting it in the cell. So, for example, you can wrap a molecule in a fat, okay? And there's a special name for it. Those are the most expensive ones. Those are the ones Dr. Nicolopoulos was on. And they're the most expensive glutathione product out of Germany. I mean, man, what beats, German ingenuity? Anyway, he was on it. He was trusting that it was doing something, but he never felt it. He never saw a difference. And so if it's wrapped in fat, the problem is the molecule size is over 50 nanometers, somewhere between 50 and 250 nanometers. How big is that hole? 10 nanometers. So things that are wrapped in fat sit on top of the cell, and they rely on other energy sources like the ATP that's in your cells produce on the outside as well as the inside. They rely on that to try to force it into the wall of the cell. Some gets forced in, not real efficient. Now, some of that, once it's forced in, does get into the cytoplasm. But guess what it has? It has a wrapping. It still has that wrapping. That's junk. It's now carried that into the cell. How are you going to get rid of it? Well, thankfully, some of it's water soluble. Some of it will ultimately leave the cell. But we don't want more crud in our cell. We want nice, clean. What this research has proven is that we are delivering the molecule, not the particles, the molecule. How big is a glutathione molecule? In the raw, it's about 0.8 of a nanometer. So now you add our water clusters, and guess what? We might go up to 1.2, 2.0, 5.0. Doesn't matter. We are so much smaller. That gives us not only more surface area to get into more cells, but watch what happens. This is what the report showed. The fastest it could measure from the time the glutathione product comes to the cell, the fastest they could measure was 5 minutes. So they could measure 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 and 20. We're only interested in what gets in fast. We don't care what takes forever because forever's forever. We are in when the very first measurement, we're already there. In full force, ready to be utilized at the molecule. The molecule can be utilized to what? To boost the immune system, to fight oxidative stress, to reduce inflammation, to do all the antioxidant, to fight off the free radicals. It's there within 5 minutes. My guess, and I'd bet money on it, is that if they can measure for 60 seconds, we're in that quick. We go right in. Okay, how did everybody else do? Well, they didn't do that good. In fact, normal glutathione that you buy from the shelf didn't get in. And Ryan, can you unmute for 1 second?
Yeah.
Okay. The other glutathione, how did it do? That is designed to get into the cell. I'm going to let the dog out while you tell him this.
Yeah. We'll remove the spotlight. Sorry. So they measured us against 2 types of glutathione: standard GSH, which is just a glutathione you buy off the shelf, and then GSH-EE, which is engineered to get to be the most bioavailable form of glutathione you can get. This is what you would see in IVs or any form of injection of glutathione. So they compared us to the other 2. Standard GSH, no significant uptake, no significant results. And the second one, GSH-EE, which you will see in the report, same thing. It did not get into the cell. So not only, and we're not talking about getting through the stomach, right? That's one problem. This is a totally separate problem. If you can get through the stomach with liposomes or whatever, the question then becomes, do you get into the cell? And the 2 glutathiones that they measured, standard and the EE version, neither one of them got into the cell. And ours was the one that saw significant uptake in glutathione, and that's what you're going to see in the results. So,
and we saw it in 5 minutes. And go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I was on the phone call when Steve was talking to this skeptical scientist who said, "Oh, I'll believe it when I see proof," and they got in a bitter back and forth, and I had to just tell Steve, "Dad, just log off. It's okay." And so he logged off, and I finished the conversation with the scientist, and we decided, you know what, it's time to put our money where our mouth is. Let's not only prove this guy wrong, but let's give our distributors something that they can use in full force. So we decided to pay for this test and get it done. And the results, we were screaming and jumping up and down like kids in a candy shop when we got the results back. And we think you guys will do the same when you have it. And we couldn't be more excited. Dad, is there anything else you'd like to add?
Yes. The next thing, once you're in the cell, is utilization. The cell can't utilize the particles. It has to come down, which means anything that's wrapped in a particle has to be unwrapped. All of that creates inefficiencies, potential problems. We get in as a molecule and we are instantly utilized. And guess what? The ones that had the deficit are where we had the greatest uptake. That's what we want. We don't care about the full swimming pools. We care about the ones that aren't full so we can fill them up. So that's what happened. This targeting was quite amazing. And Then we get into utilization. The other thing that we know we do, the fact that we're getting glutathione in, and another part of our formula, which I'm not going to mention because we're going to not tip off competition, it got in. And it's the part that allows the cell to make even more of its own glutathione. So we're dropping a usable molecule that can instantly be utilized, and we're getting the precursor in that the cell's going to use to make more and to recycle glutathione. And so that was very exciting. Now, like I say, we've had so much proof, Dr. Nicolopoulos's proofs. Many of you have seen photographs. You've seen it in your own world. You've seen people see incredible results. One of the world's, by the way, we did get approved. We have now been certified for sport. So now Olympic athletes, Major League Baseball here in the United States, and National Football League football players, we're the only glutathione product that's certified for sport, and probably ever will be. And so that certification has come this year. That allows me to talk to people that would normally not give me the time of day. We already have one major coach in the National Football League and his trainer. They've been on our product from, well, the trainer from day one, going clear back. And the coach has been on it for over a year, and he calls it his miracle product. Not my word. That's the coach of this particular football team. So we're going to see tremendous things happen. And of course, you're all part of the Neumi'S family, so you're going to see it. Is there any? Oh, right. Proof of quick entry. And we see why quick entries. I read some studies this week on fat-wrapped glutathione. And it says, can it make a difference? And the answer was yes. In fact, studies showed if you take X amount, tremendous amount every day for 2 weeks, you're going to see results. You know, why wait 2 weeks when you can see results in 5 minutes? Do we really see it? That's how we tell athletes to work out with it, compete with it, take it 5 minutes before. An example was one of Aaron's good friends who used to be a champion cyclist when he was younger. And he had a big event coming up called Point to Point that he used to win when he was in his 30s. Well, now he's 48, and it's going up and down 5 mountains, 13,000 feet of altitude gain on mountain trails, up and down, 82 miles. It's an 8-hour nonstop pedaling event. It is gruesome. I don't think Aaron even did it, but we were with this guy. He's 48 years old. He said, how should I use Swish this time? And we told him 5 minutes before the race. And because of the half-life, we said, this was a year ago, a couple years ago, we said, because of the half-life, do it every hour for the 8 hours of the race, and then immediately after to accelerate recovery. Well, guess what? His normal energy drop in the first hour. This is why time is so important. First hour would normally go like that, and then the next 7 hours, it normally goes like that. He said, that didn't happen. Here's what happened. Boom, 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 8 times, boom, boom. He gets to the finish line thinking, I've gone at a casual pace. He says, I don't even try to win anymore. There's only one other person there. At 48 years old, he took second in that grueling race. He gets home, and normally after this race, he falls on the bed and goes to sleep and wakes up Sunday morning. He comes home. He feels so good, has so much energy that he does the cleaning. He cleans his equipment. He does the family wash, and they had a lot of kids. And his wife comes in. She says, I thought you had that race today. And he said, I did. She says, well, what are you doing up? He says, I just feel that good. So timing is important. The fact that we do get into the cell. Sorry, skeptics. B, we get in quickly. And guess what? We get utilized The switch goes on the second it's in the cell. That is the breakthrough. These are the claims we can now make. We're going to, for Steve Scott's sake, we're going to dumb down. We're going to do a white paper where we put things in. It's 60 some pages, and it's numbers and it's numbers and it's numbers. So we're going to go ahead and make it more concise, more readable. You'll be able to hand it to scientists, hand it to doctors. In fact, I've already had one request today. That will be done next week, probably toward the end of next week. You'll be able to download it from your back office. We'll try to get it into all the languages as fast as we can. And Ryan, that's it for me.
Thank you. This is it's so funny. You know, we've seen all the results and we've seen exactly what's happening, and we know what's happening, but when you did this test, you just never know. You never know what's going to come out the other end, and it's like you studied for the test, you know all the right answers, but you still hope that you passed, right? And we thought, okay, well, if it comes back and we can't see any results, does that just mean that this test wasn't the right test? Does it mean that, you know, we need to try another test? And we were kind of just sitting there thinking what happened if, and luckily we never had to worry, and it was just an incredible thing, and it's just boosted my faith in this product. And what's so cool was to see the depleted cells, right? So I was talking to one of our Coleman, he's, you know, head of technology, and he's a little younger, he's 28, right? And he says, you know, I don't feel swish that often when I'm taking it. And he probably has healthy cells and healthy levels of glutathione. And the cells that had all the glutathione they needed, there wasn't an interaction, an increase of glutathione in those cells. The depleted cells sucked it up immediately and utilized it immediately, which happens with age, it happens with environmental toxins, it happens with disease, it happens with all these things that we're seeing. And so it's just so cool to see that our product goes where it's needed. It's the ultimate delivery system, right? So cool.
Can I say one thing?
Yeah, of course.
About what you said about Coleman. Remember the iceberg, folks. It's not what you feel. Coleman is getting his immune system boosted. He is having the support he needs for every tissue, every organ. Fight against free radicals never stops. And as soon as, now we've seen this with we've seen amazing things happen. Glutathione levels go down, person has a problem, we hear about it, they get on our product, problem goes away, they get off our product, problem comes back. Dr. Nicolopoulos, as I mentioned, he had been on the German product, and he was approached by his next door neighbor, who is a professor for 40 years at the medical school, the Harvard Associated Medical School in Athens. And she comes up with our blue bottle and says, "You've got to try this." And he said, "Why do I have to try it?" "It's glutathione." He says, "I've been on glutathione for years." She said, "Not like this." She gives it to him, and he says, okay, I'll try it. And he pays money for it. But he gets on it, and he decides to take it before 3 times a week. He walks 10,000 steps, about 4 or 5 miles at a brisk walk. He doesn't do it lazy. When he gets home, he just plops onto bed. He's all spent, gone. Well, he goes ahead and takes the product 5 minutes before he starts that 10,000 steps. At the end of the 10,000 steps, he says, "I wasn't spent at all. I felt like I could just keep going, but I had an appointment I had to get to." And he got the product the next day, and then he started putting clients on it and everything. Timing, speed, even when you don't, he didn't think, okay, I need it for the exercise. But when he used it, exercise creates a temporary deficit. Guess what? We fill that deficit, not in 2 weeks, like any competitive, we fill it while it's happening. That's the breakthrough. And we've seen it, and we've had so much evidence. It's broken my heart to have all this and not be able to really combat those, I shouldn't say idiots, those people that say, "Show me the scientific proof." Well, now we have the scientific proof, and everybody on this call is going to have it too next week. Okay, back to you, Ryan. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. Thank you. Thank you for clearing that up. Yeah.